Yes. Brian Campion.
Here.
Mohammed Joe.
Here.
Caleb Greenwood. Lyle Jepson. Tammy Colby.
Good morning, everyone.
Tom Lovett.
Here.
Brianna Marsh. Cynthia Stewart.
Here.
Rich Werner. Jennifer Deck Samuelson.
Here, thank you. Good morning.
Secretary Saunders.
She was here. Well, I'm sure she will be rejoining us shortly. Before we get started, I do see that we have Superintendent Wilmer Shavaria with us this morning. I invited Superintendent Shavaria to come to this meeting, and I would like to amend the agenda. And as a first order of business, we have a statement from the State Board of Education that Mohammed has agreed to read. And just as a background, I'm sure most of you have seen the news by now that Superintendent Shavaria was in Nicaragua visiting his family and was flying back to Vermont on Monday, entered the United States through Houston, had a global entry pass, and was detained for over 5 hours and subjected to, well, I can let him tell the story, but subjected to completely inappropriate and hostile and threatening questioning at the hands of federal authorities without any justification. So if you've read the news articles, they're deeply disturbing. Superintendent Shavaria is a U.S. citizen, but you know, there are protections in this country regardless. And it felt important to me that the state board issue a statement just in support of Superintendent Shavaria. So, Mohammed, if I'll turn the floor over to you.
Samuelson, and thank you everyone for being with us this morning.
I am wondering if you can turn your volume up because it's hard to hear you, Mohammed.
I'm at the max.
You might have to yell.
Okay. I'll try again. Am I being heard clearly right now?
It's very faint.
Sorry?
It's very faint.
Huh. All right. How about I try with my phone? Maybe it could.
That was better.
Take just a second.
Okay. Board members may also recall that we went to I.N.S.P.I.R.E at our April board meeting and met with Superintendent Shavaria there, very gracious host for the State Board of Education, and we were able to tour both the middle school and the high school as part of our day in I.N.S.P.I.R.E, and just were really struck by the caliber of the students, the caliber of the education, the caring, the resources that are being made available to students. It is our most diverse school system in the state. And it was just, I, for one, was really impressed with the work the Superintendent Shavaria is doing, and just really, you know, proud to call him one of our own. He's a contributor to the Vermont education landscape, and we certainly need his voice.
Thank you for that addition, Chair Samuelson. I am ready, and yes. I want to double check whether I'm being clearly heard again.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So this statement of the Vermont State Board of Education in support of Superintendent Wilmer Shavaria, stressed with the R in a Spanish way. We, the members of the Vermont State Board of Education, express our profound sorrow and deep concern regarding the alarming and unacceptable treatment that Superintendent Wilmer Shavaria of the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School District experienced upon his return from Nicaragua on Monday, July 21st of this year. 2025. Superintendent Chavarria, a well-respected and respectful U.S. citizen, was subjected to over 5 hours of detention and abusive interrogation by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The separation from his husband, with whom he was traveling, and the way he was treated are deeply disturbing and unequivocally unacceptable. This incident starkly contrasts with the principles of dignity and respect that Vermonters uphold for all individuals, particularly for a dedicated leader and valued member of our educational community. The Vermont State Board of Education stands in unwavering solidarity with Superintendent Chavarria and his family during this challenging time. We fully support his safety, well-being, and continued vital contributions to the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School District and the broader Vermont educational landscape. We emphasize that such detentions, though regrettably becoming more common, are not normal. They are wrong, inhumane, and unjust. The well-being of our education workforce is not merely a concept, but a fundamental pillar of a thriving and productive environment. It is critical for all individuals to feel supported and valued, free from the fear of such abuses. We urge all relevant federal agencies to thoroughly investigate this incident, rectify the harms inflicted upon Superintendent Chavarria, and take meaningful and effective measures to prevent such abuses from occurring in the future. No one, especially a U.S. citizen, should ever face such treatment at the hand of their government. Facilitating, permitting, or condoning such behavior is antithetical to our Constitution and the democratic principles upon which this country, the United States of America, was founded. The Vermont State Board of Education remains committed to fostering an environment where all members of our educational community feel safe, respected, and supported. This is dated today, July 24th, 2025, in Winhall, Vermont. And it is signed, this document is also signed by our chair, Samuelson. Thank you all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions directly. And as Chair Samuelson mentioned, Superintendent Wilma Chavarria is with us as well.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. And Superintendent Chavarria, welcome. Thank you for making the time to be with us this morning. Brian, I see that your hand is raised.
Thank you. And thank you for organizing this, Chair Samuelson. Well done. My only question is, where would you like us to have it sent? In other words, oftentimes we don't want it to just disappear. So does this go to our federal delegation? Does this go to folks in border security, the Attorney General's office? You know, we want it to go somewhere, and that's usually part of the motion. I don't think it has to be, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts or if others have thoughts on where we might send this.
Yeah, thank you for raising that issue. I'm just thinking, I believe it was the Vermont Superintendents Association sent it to, you know, our senators and Representative Becca Ballant, and I'm just trying to pull that email up. I'm certainly open to suggestions here, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I would certainly go ahead and send it to our congressional delegation. And I would also send it to Charity Clark's office. I mean,
Okay.
those are the two that's, seem most relevant at this point.
Okay. Yes, I can certainly do that. The one from the VSA went to media partners in the offices of Senator Welch, Senator Sanders, Representative Ballant, Vermont Senate Pro Tem Baruth, Vermont House Speaker Krawinski, and Governor Scott. So if board members are okay with that, I can do the same and then also add on the Attorney General's office.
Great.
Thank you. Any other board members or Superintendent Chavaria? I'm happy to turn the floor to you for a moment.
I think Tammy has her hand
Oh.
up.
I'm sorry, my screen blocked you. Yes, Tammy, thank you.
That's okay. I just wanted to say how deeply troubled and outraged I am by what the superintendent experienced. And just to say personally, what happened to you is unequivocally unjust. But I also want to thank you for bringing voice to this situation. And I want to recognize that that takes courage. Speaking out takes courage, and it's very powerful. And it's helping to raise awareness of an issue that cannot be ignored. So I just wanted to say that thank you for doing that as well. And know that I and others stand with you, and you have our full support of our Vermont community in this difficult time. So thank you. And please know that we stand with you in this moment.
Mohammed?
Thank you, Chair Samuelson, and thank you, Tammy. Brian, I appreciate your comments as well. I just want to mention that it's hard to live in America when you were not born in America, from my own personal experience. Some of us chose to be here in the US. Some of us did not even have a choice to be here. The difference is there is an immigrant and there is a refugee. The refugees, most of the time, if not 100% of the time, they actually do not have the final say of where to land. Hence, they can be anywhere in the world. Most of the time, immigrants and refugees end up loving the country in which they are or the country that hosted them. So when I talk about myself, I am an immigrant. I chose to be here by choice. I have not run from anything from anywhere in the world. I'm free to go to anywhere else if I wanted to, even tomorrow. But this is where my heart is. This is where I chose to be. That's the difference. The refugees I work with, they feel the same way. And in that sense, and from my experience living in Vermont or traveling across the US, I don't see any difference in between myself being an immigrant and that who call himself or herself or themselves a refugee. I do not want to go into details for the very horrible experiences I encountered myself living in the US. And that happens every day, every single day. I witness something that is heartbreaking towards me. I'm always a target. As we are in this meeting right now, may eyes be waiting for me at the door. I'm not worried about it, honestly speaking. But what we need to do is acknowledge people who chose to be with us, who are committed to our world in the US and contribute to the well-being of this country. The assumptions out there are crazy, are insane. So many things are assumed about us. We are thugs, we are drug dealers, we are killers, we are M13, whatsoever people might think of. The generalization, the assumptions, those are the main target, and that is just unjust. Assumptions, we all have assumptions. So I invite all of us always to continue to work on our assumptions about ourselves, about others as well, before we even exteriorize anything. Thank you.
Mohammed, thank you for sharing that, because I realize that that's not easy. I mean, it goes right to the core of who you are and your existence in this country. And it is deeply troubling. To kind of echo what Tammy said, it's regrettable that this is happening to anyone. And I think the only good that I can find out of it, and I don't even want to be, I don't want to suggest that there's any good to come out of this, but I think it's helpful to have a platform to raise the issue. And when we have community leaders who are, should be unassailable, subjected to this kind of treatment, it really does make you realize how many people are experiencing this every day and they don't have the voice, and how important it is for us to give voice to all of those people, doing whatever we can to raise awareness. So I thank you for that. It's a really tough place where we are right now.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to be here, and also the very powerful statement that was read. I will say that everything Mohammed said is true. I would say the same thing. And I want to also say that you taking time in a meeting like this one, that every minute is precious, and changing the agenda to make that statement. I think I agree with Member Campion that it's usual and also useful for it to go other places, but this platform alone, you haven't read it in this space. Taking the time and to do this is powerful enough for me, and that's the point. I think this, to me, this is not fun. It's very stressful. It's very stressful for my family. It's very disruptive to the work that I should be doing right now for the school district. But I have no choice because of what's been said. It's very stressful, but it's also, if I don't use my platform and pressure my circles to also use their platforms to bring awareness to the deterioration of our rights as U.S. citizens, as our rights as human beings, then I don't think anybody else is going to do it. And I agree with Chair Samuelson. There's nothing good about this, but at least it happened to somebody who, in certain circles, people will pay attention and will start thinking about this. And so I'm more than thankful for you to join in this chorus of voices. And I appreciate more than the support for me personally, but the support for bringing awareness to something that is very serious, and that every American, regardless of your race or your immigration status, should be very concerned, should take this very seriously, and should continue to talk about it rather than normalize it. So again, my appreciation, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Any final comments from board members? Hearing none. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and taking time out of your day. And we will send you a copy of this in the mail, but and I'll also forward it on as Brian suggested. Thank you. Mohammed, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if Wilmer doesn't intend to, if he has other things to do, he's obviously free to go. He doesn't have to be here throughout the meeting. I just want to add that part.
Good point. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Chair Samuelson, are you looking for a motion then to pass the resolution that
Sure.
you read, and it will be forwarded, as you mentioned, to the governor's office, the pro tem's office, the Office of the Attorney General, Charity Clark, Speaker of the House, Jill Krasinski, and members of the media.
Yes, and our U.S. representatives.
And thank you, our U.S. representative delegation.
Yeah. Yes. Was that a motion?
That's a motion, please.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second.
All right, many seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the statement or approving the statement, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I need to abstain. I just walked in the door. My apologies.
All right, thank you, Lyle. Good morning. All right, the motion carries. Thank you very much. I do realize that we were off schedule, and with my apologies to everyone who thought we were going to be out of here in an hour. I will do my best to, keep us moving forward. But at this point, we do have time for public comment. If there are any members of the public who wish to address the board, and let me just preface that by saying you are always welcome to submit any comments in writing to be included as a link in our minutes. And if you will be speaking, providing comment to the board, we ask you to limit yourself to 2 minutes. So with that, if there are any members of the public, please raise your hand on the Teams platform. I see Heather Day and Tate Erickson. So Heather, we'll start with you. Good morning. And I think you're muted if you're trying to speak. There you go. I think we can hear you now.
Okay. Hello, my name is Heather Day. I am the parent of a child with autism and also a special educator who has worked with children with severe emotional disorders and autism for the past 22 years. My son Mario has attended the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School for Autism for the past 2 years. Prior to this placement, he was bullied by other students and told by teachers to not make a scene when he stimmed or scripted. He was provided no evidence-based strategies or supports for autism other than BCBA support, which resulted in frequent and often violent meltdowns. These meltdowns were considered choice behaviors for which Mario was frequently punished, suspended, or threatened with calls to the police. He felt anxious, angry, and ostracized from the school community. Staff displayed very little knowledge and understanding of his disability and its implications. This treatment eventually culminated in a suicide attempt. Sorry. He was then placed at I.N.S.P.I.R.E. The change has been dramatic for Mario, particularly in the last year. He no longer has major meltdowns. Mario has grown tremendously. He is more confident, is able to communicate more effectively, and is able to advocate for himself. He has become more independent, responsible, and shows much more initiative and engagement in school. Most importantly, he is happy. I know that significant changes were needed at I.N.S.P.I.R.E, and I am incredibly impressed with the changes that have occurred this year and will continue in the future. The school has become an inviting and welcoming environment to both parents and students. School staff are transparent, responsive, and communicate effectively. Staff bring exceptional knowledge of autism and the interventions needed to meet the diverse and complex needs of each individual student along the spectrum. I have zero concerns with Mario continuing to attend I.N.S.P.I.R.E for the remainder of his school career, and am confident that he will have the skills he needs to be successful upon graduation. Thank you.
Thank you. If you were reading something and you'd like that included in the minutes, you can forward that to Maureen Gaddis and Suzanne Sprague. Do you have that information?
No.
Okay. So I can spell it out for you, or Suzanne.
Would you be able to just put it in the chat and I could write it down, or?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Okay, I see Tate Erickson, and then I just saw Raymond, I'm sorry, Boulay. I hope I got that right.
Hi, all. Thank you for this opportunity. First, I wanted to just celebrate the advocacy you're doing around Wilmer's unfortunate event. I came in a little bit late. I know Wilmer and in strong support of upholding protections for our people and the overreach of ICE. But aside from that, I'm really here to advocate for I.N.S.P.I.R.E, not to be closed, and to listen to the VISA, the Vermont Independent School Association recommendation to at least give them until January to continue to show significant progress, which I agree they are making progress. They have new administration. They're improving systems. My advocacy, after having significant concerns that were brought forth to our community and to our district, were significant. And I feel with Lisa Kunzler's leadership that they have the opportunity to improve, and that we are really not looking to lose capacity to meet the individualized needs of students who need something different, as Heather Day has advocated as well, that I.N.S.P.I.R.E meets unique needs that sometimes are very challenging to provide in a public school setting. And that we have independent schools that have literally a line out the door that we cannot actually get our students into public. We can't get our students into some school programs that we think they actually need because of limited capacity. So I would just advocate to listen to the Vermont Independent School Board or Schools Association's recommendation to at least give them another 6 months to demonstrate improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just make one correction. It was the Council of Independent Schools I think you're referring to.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Raymond and then Tanner.
Hey, sorry, yep, you did get my name right. Appreciate that. I just wanted to start off by seconding what Tate said with the whole Wilmer situation. That's unfortunate, especially having articles written about you that are completely false. And that's where I kind of want to advocate for I.N.S.P.I.R.E. I'm a special ed teacher there. And over the last 8 months, there's been many false articles written about our school. When we first started this whole probation process, my initial thought was, this is going to be a good thing. I truly believe like every school can be improved. So my first thought with the AOE in the state of Vermont was, they're going to come in, they're going to praise us on some things and have us correct on other things. But that process has been absolutely the opposite. When Deb and Pat and Dexter first came to our school, it was more of an interrogation process. Dexter actually toured the school and checked out every classroom. Deb and Pat didn't even go to any classrooms. So I'm just so confused on how you can assume or recommend a school be shut down on just so many little facts. And then Secretary Saunders, I wish she was here, but she recommended to close our school as well. I would love for her to come and see our school and see all the good work we do and talk to parents like Heather Day and see the actual work we do. My next thing is, the Vermont Council of Independent Schools had a meeting without us, a 15-minute meeting to decide our future. 15 minutes. And the things they discussed were, it's sad for the students and teachers. Are we still nonprofit? And you can tell by my voice, I'm pretty fired up about this because we have not had any help from the AOE. We have emails with no responses. And like another superintendent, Tay Erickson said, since Lisa has taken over as director, things have steadily improved. But yeah, I just don't understand how you can close a school when no one's really coming into the building and see what we've done. They haven't talked to previous parents. So I just hope as a state, you guys can be better, especially, someone in a position of Zoe Saunders' status that technically was voted not to be in that position. So I just don't understand it. And I appreciate you letting me have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanner.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanner Lupa, and I've had the privilege of working at the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School for Autism for the past 10 years. 8 as a special education teacher, and 2 as a para. I've dedicated my career to students too often overlooked by the traditional system. Our students come to us when public schools can no longer meet their needs, when behavior is misunderstood, support has run out, and social growth has stalled. At I.N.S.P.I.R.E, we see more than challenges, we see potential. And when students are placed in an environment designed for them, their progress is remarkable. And that's kind of why I'm here today, because our school is now at risk of closure. The concerns cited, report card formats, credit structures, schedules, may be procedural and important, but they don't reflect the core of our work or the growth of our students are achieving. We've responded in good faith, submitted everything asked of us, and made requested changes on time, actually a week early. Yet it has felt less like collaboration and more like a decision that was already made. No one from the agency visited our classrooms, like Ray said, spoken with our students or families, or asked districts who continue to refer students to us because they trust our program. Yes, we're not perfect, no school is, but we're doing the hard, messy, critical work of educating kids who've been left behind. Every one of our students is on an IEP, everyone requires modified curriculums, personalized support, and a level of care that most schools can't provide. Yet we do every single day. The probation feels disproportionate to the issues cited. We're asking the state to truly see what's at stake. Come visit, talk to our families, hear the districts. We're not just a school, we're a second chance, and for some kids, a last chance. So please consider that and don't take that away. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm not seeing anyone. Well, thank you for the public comment. We've appreciated it. It's always helpful to hear from directly from members of the public. At this point, I'm going to turn us to agenda item C, which is the referral of the Secretary's recommendation to the State Board of Education to revoke approved independent school status for the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School for Autism to a hearing officer. And before we do that, I want to ground our conversation, and I'm going to share my screen. It's always a little clunky, so bear with me one moment. As the board may recall, Tammy and I testified before the House Education Committee earlier this spring about independent schools, the approval process, and there was a slide in there that was specific to complaints and investigations, and I thought it would be helpful if I can review that with you. Just so that we all understand what the process is and how the State Board of Ed fits into that process. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, and Chair Samuelson, if I could just jump in for 1 second. Oops.
Sure.
I just want to correct something that was said during the testimony. It was public hearing time. Someone mentioned that Secretary Saunders was not alluded to her not being confirmed or approved by the Senate. And just for the record, she was on a vote of 22-8. I just want to make sure those watching are aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. I would love to go into slideshow mode, but if you guys don't mind the tabs, there's not a whole lot on here. So this is the screen, and I'll just enlarge it. Can you all see that? This is set forth in State Board of Education Rule 2226, and this is kind of the flow chart of what happens in what order and who is responsible. So the first step in the process is that detailed complaints are made in writing to the secretary, showing that the school, and now I need to enlarge it even more because I can't read it, substantially failed to comply with the minimum course of study, or failed to maintain resources required to meet its stated objectives, or failed to comply with statute or State Board of Education rules. So that complaint goes to the Agency of Education. The next step is the secretary shall conduct a prompt initial investigation. In general, the school receives notice, and the secretary determines if the matter can be resolved through informal means. You have in the agenda packet, there was an initial investigation. There was some correspondence back and forth between the agency and the school. And I'm not getting into the details of that. This is just, a very broad overview. The next step in the process is the secretary determines if a formal investigation is required. That did happen in this case. It also happened that the secretary placed the school on probation and notified the State Board of Education of this action. The school was given the right to appeal. I don't believe that the school appealed that decision. The secretary then appoints a review team. The review team conducts a school visit and performs an assessment of the allegations. The review team then goes back to the secretary and informs the secretary and the school of the results of its visit and assessment. And then the school is included on the agency's register of complaints. From there, the next step in the process, and this is governed by statute, the secretary shares its findings with the Council of Independent Schools. Then the council considers the findings from the investigation and the secretary's proposed resolution and issues its written opinion. That also happened in this case. The council ultimately disagreed with the secretary's recommendation, and then it went back to the secretary, who, taking all of this, all of the evidence and the whole timeline, then the secretary determines whether revocation or suspension of approval is warranted. And if so, the secretary notifies the State Board of Education and the school. At that point, this is when it comes before the State Board of Education. State Board of Education provides an opportunity for a hearing pursuant to 3 VSA Chapter 25 to consider the secretary's recommendation, and ultimately the State Board is charged with responsibility to revoke, suspend, or impose conditions on the school's approval status, including its eligibility to receive public tuition, if it determines that the school has failed to demonstrate that it has the required resources, has failed to comply with statute or State Board of Education rules, has failed to report a financial event listed in Rule 2223.3.2b, or has failed to make an annual enrollment report to the secretary. So that is the process. So where we are right now is in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 7th of the 8 boxes. The other thing that I'm going to share, I'm wondering if I flip, can you guys see State Board of Education Rule 1236? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And no, we cannot
Yes.
see the other
Okay.
rule.
Okay, so let me stop sharing, and then I'm going to share my screen again, because I probably have to just pick a different tab. Hang on. Okay. Can you all see Rule 1236?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is in our State Board of Education Rule Series 1200, and this is included, with my apologies, it is included. It's been posted with the agenda packet. I did not do this until this morning, so I'm sharing it on the screen just for full transparency. But Rule 1236 is the rule that allows the State Board of Education to appoint a hearing officer, to conduct pre-hearing conferences, conduct hearings that may be required, and prepare proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law for a decision by the State Board of Education. So what the State Board of Education has done in the past, and what I would, not in a revocation, suspension, or imposition of conditions situation, but the State Board of Education has retained a hearing officer in the past. And what we've done is we've delegated this authority to the hearing officer to really serve as the person who will meet with the parties, set a deadline for submission of materials, for presenting any written arguments. The hearing officer will then hold a hearing, and after that hearing, we'll draft a proposed finding of facts and conclusion of law with a recommended decision for State Board action. At that point, the hearing officer will meet with the full board to review the proposed decision, answer board member questions, revise the report in response to board member feedback. And when everyone is in agreement with the proposed decision, it then comes to the full board for a vote. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see you guys. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so what we're doing today, we are not having the hearing today. I want to make that clear. What we're doing today is just voting to refer the matter to a hearing officer, and the board has retained Attorney I.N.S.P.I.R.E to help us with this endeavor. So let me just pause there and see if there are any board member questions or comments. Okay, Tom.
Yeah, just I don't know Mr. Powers, just a little bit of background about him, but if you have it.
Good question. I don't have it handy. He is an attorney. The board has retained him in the past. There was, and this was a couple of years ago, Tom, you were there, but there was a parent who wanted tuition funds to send a child to Canada to an independent school there. And the question was whether that school, fit within our definitions of what would be an allowable expense to allow those tuition funds to flow to the school in Canada. So we have retained him before. He does this, he does practice education law. So he seemed like a good fit, and, he was extended the invitation to be the hearing officer and has agreed. I will connect with him. He could not be here today, but I will connect with him after this meeting and just, formally, if the board votes to do so, I will, formally pass the file over to him and also officially notify the parties that he will be following up with them.
I do remember that case. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments or questions from board members? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to appoint Adam Powers to serve as a hearing officer consistent with State Board Rule 1236 to conduct pre-hearing conferences, work with the parties to set deadlines for submissions of pleadings and supporting evidence, conduct any hearings that may be required, and prepare proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law for a decision by the State Board upon the Secretary's recommendation to revoke the approved independent school status of the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School for Autism.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
Suzanne, did you get that? Okay, thanks. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, please raise your hand and signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. As I said, I will follow up with Adam, and I will also follow up with the parties. I do not have anything further, and I can turn it back over for public comment. Any final words from board members before we go back to public comment? All right. Lisa, is it Kunzler? You're muted.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kunzler. I just wanted to introduce myself. I am the new executive director of I.N.S.P.I.R.E, so I look forward to the hearing. I'm just wondering, Jennifer, if you can give us any type of time frame that we're looking at?
I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to Adam, but I do feel like I think the expectation is that things will move along. I don't think this is going to sort of drag on over a period of months.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I do believe in the rule, once the hearing has occurred, I believe that the hearing officer has 30 days, I want to say, to provide. Now not seeing that in the rule, I don't know where I got that from. So maybe that's not true. But I don't know the timeline, but I will leave it to you guys to work that out with Attorney Powers.
And one more question. What are the chances that this hearing can be in person?
I think that would be a question to direct to Attorney Powers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Other public comment? Sean Toohey. And I think you're also muted.
you hit the button, but it doesn't change. Still getting used to this after 5 years of virtual meetings. So full disclosure, I am the attorney for I.N.S.P.I.R.E School, and it's a little odd for me to be making a public comment, but I'm going to make a public comment on behalf of I.N.S.P.I.R.E School nonetheless. I'm just going to make sort of a plea to the Board of Education, State Board of Education, to attend the hearing. I don't think it's clear in the rule or the motion today that the state members of the state board would actually be at the hearing to listen to the evidence directly. And so I would just encourage all of you to participate, as it is the state board's decision ultimately as to whether or not the approval of I.N.S.P.I.R.E is going to be revoked, or if there's going to be some other condition set by the board. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, board members, you are welcome to attend the hearing and listen and observe. That's a good point. Anyone else? Heather Day.
I just had a quick question. Will parents, and more specifically students who are able, be able to participate in this process?
Again, I think you're going to have to work that out with Attorney Powers, just to set the parameters of who is doing what, how, and when. This was really the board's official action to get this process started, but it will be up to Attorney Powers to use his discretion to put shape on the process.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. So with that, I want to thank everyone again for attending this morning's special meeting, especially on short notice. I felt it was really important that the board meet, and then it became even more important for the board to meet today in light of what had happened on Monday with Superintendent Chavarria. I didn't want to wait until we met in August to take up the issue with the I.N.S.P.I.R.E School, because I think all of the parties are probably looking for some clarity and some closure on this. Lyle?
I apologize for being late, because I'm sure I would have voted yes on the superintendent piece at the very beginning of this had I been involved in that conversation. So I know we can't go back and do another vote, but I just wanted to have that part of the public record.
Thank you.
And I wonder, to that end, Chair Samuelson, if it would make sense to have Lyle read the statement, perhaps watch and kind of keep the vote open and allow him to vote, given the seriousness of the issue. I mean, we've done that period, we do that in the legislature sometimes. Somebody has to step out of a committee, they come back, but we keep the vote open so that they can be on the record. I'll leave that up to you and Lyle, I guess.
Well, like retroactively, are we allowed to do that?
I believe you are, but I could be completely wrong.
Too bad Rich isn't here. This is,
yeah.
I mean, uncharted territory.
Anyhow, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I appreciate what you're saying.
I also like it going, unanimously.
Brian, is it sufficient just to let the record and the minutes show that Lyle supported the motion? I mean, the motion passed with a unanimous vote of the board, and so as it moves forward, it will have that sort of heft behind it that it passed with a unanimous.
Yeah, I'll leave that to what Lyle and Jennifer prefer. I know, just speaking for myself, given the severity of the issue, it's always nice to be able to cast a vote, but I'm speaking for myself right now.
Well, Lyle, let me ask you this. Have you read the statement?
I have.
You agree with this statement?
I would add my vote as a unanimous vote, yes.
Okay. So let's note that for the record, and then I will do some sleuthing to see if we're allowed to tack Lyle's vote on after the full board took the vote earlier in the meeting. And if so, we'll add you in. And if not, then at least you're on the record indicating your support.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Any final comments? Tom? You're muted.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. So that just a final question: if we were going to attend the hearings, how do we know when and where they're taking place? Will we be notified?
So when I follow up with Adam, I will communicate this to him and then make sure that he advises the board of the deadlines as well as when any hearings will be held.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, well, if there's nothing further, and I don't see any other hands raised, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I see Lisa's hand is up.
Although I think that's up from before. Lisa, you didn't have anything more to say to the board, did you? Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Tom, seconded by Tammy. All those in favor, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you all. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.